Welcome back to Season 2 of Applying Yourself, a law school admissions podcast out of WashU Law. My name is Anna Donovan. I am the Communications Program Manager here, and we are back to have some new episodes of this podcast for you all. I'm very excited. It's just me today to introduce, or I guess let him introduce himself, Joe Gbujama, who's a 2021 grad, who's going to be talking with us about a nonprofit he started called the Bridging the Gap Scholarship. We'll turn it over to you, Joe. If you want to start out by telling us a little bit about what you've been doing since you graduated law school.
Yeah, so thanks so much for having me. Yeah, I am currently an associate at Littler Mendelson in San Francisco. I do management side labor and employment. And no, I mean, that's been having a great time doing that. I litigate a lot, lots of advice and counsel. And I'm actually going to be transitioning soon to be starting a federal clerkship in the Northern District of Illinois later this year. So practice has been fun and I've been enjoying it.
Excellent. I think this ties into a little bit of how this got started. But do you want to tell us a little bit? Like, I know it's reaching back, but what you were involved in law school, your law school experience, and sort of how that fed into this idea and starting this scholarship.
Yeah, so I had an awesome time in law school. I was pretty involved in Black Law Student Association, Phi Alpha Delta, Journal of Law and Policy, and a couple externships. And one of the best experiences that I had was through Balsa, just meeting a bunch of different people. And in Balsa, that's actually where I met the other founders of Bridging the Gap. And that's how we were able to get together and come up with the idea.
Excellent. And I guess this is the big question, but tell us about your idea and what you all do.
Yeah, so by way of background, I came from a single parent household and I didn't have a lot of knowledge about the law school process. I did have an aunt who was a public defender who inspired me to go to law school, but we didn't really talk too much about what to do, or rather her experience was limited to kind of the public defense and like later the prosecution route. And so I had the experience of in undergrad meeting people and mentors who were able to kind of talk to me about how to get to law school and how to get to big law. And then when I actually got to law school, I was able to see the actual process and talk to the amazing support at WashU and just my classmates, and to really see and understand and learn that process of big law. And I kept thinking, man, it would have been really nice to know a lot of this or to have all this information earlier in my career and to be able to have like the resources to be able to like actually act on stuff, because that just was not there for me at the time. And so I ended up meeting up with Imani Matuka, Elizabeth Pravat, and Brennan Hughes, three other WashU alum who were all first years at the time, who had similar um, experiences in terms of wishing that they had known more about the big law process and about how much, maybe like $1,000 could have made a difference in someone's experience. And so we talked together and we all just came together and decided, okay, we're all working in big law this summer. Like we're all going to be making like a lot of money. So let's take like $1,000 from our salaries and start a scholarship and market it and promote it and just try to encourage other people to apply. So that's what we did. And we got together, ended up picking 4 scholars after like a social media campaign, for lack of a better term, and then counseled and advised those students in their applications, paid for their resources, and ultimately were able to help them get into some of the top schools in the country, Georgetown, Penn, Cornell, and WashU. And we thought that this was something that we could definitely repeat. And so we took a break because of COVID, but last year we officially became a 501c3 like nonprofit. And we're just trying to pick back up where we left off in 2019 to bridge the gap.
Yeah, awesome. Can you tell a little bit about, I guess, sort of the sell, but how candidates can apply who are interested, but also, I guess, a little bit more detail about what kind of like the funding can go to. I think so many people don't even know what they might need money for, or what, it's just in the same way you didn't know much about big law. They don't even know what they don't know about how far this could kind of take them, but like what it can be used for.
Yeah. So the way that you apply, you would go to our website, www.bridgingthegapscholarship.com, and then we've got the application up there. It's like a big yellow apply now, and we ask a series of questions that I can get into a bit later. But in terms of what the scholarship covers, it really just covers everything that a law student would need, depending on where they're at in the process. So if, let's say you have a good GPA, but you don't have anything else, right? Like you don't have an LSAT, you don't know like the personal statement and whatnot. The scholarship will cover an LSAT course, law school admissions consulting through a vendor who we've been working with, um, a Barbary Law Preview course, which is a course designed to help you during your first year of law school, and then $1,000 scholarship that goes directly to the scholars to help them with, applying for law school, or just anything that they need to support themselves, and then mentorship from myself and the other scholars, the other board members of the scholarship.
Yeah, absolutely. So specifically for prospective law students, so not for current law students. Is that right?
Yes. And that's not to say that you have to have not taken the LSAT. Like
Sure.
you can, if you've taken the LSAT, then obviously you don't need the
Right.
the LSAT course.
Yeah.
But just kind of meeting you where you're at to help
sure.
you figure out what you need to do to take you to that next level.
Absolutely. Very customized to the candidate. So everyone should apply. Please do. I always mention our millions of listeners, which is funny because we don't have that many, but maybe we will one day. That is excellent. What would you say, for people who are just thinking about law school or are currently applying to law school, they maybe have applied for this cycle, or thinking about, future cycles, like what advice, besides applying for your incredible scholarship award, what advice would you have for those candidates?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest advice that I would give is to we need to learn to be our best advocates. I know for me personally, I struggled because I didn't have any externship experience. And so I thought, oh, I may not have the best chance of getting into, you know, like good law schools um, or I may not have the experience to be like a good attorney because I only really had like club experience. I was president of like Black Law Student Association and File for Delta and some other stuff, but I didn't have actual work experience. And so I struggled initially to think, okay, well, other people are going to apply. Maybe they've been working for years. So like, I'm just not going to be like a good candidate. But then I spoke with people who really told me that, no, like you need to like, you have skills and your experiences are like what they are. So you need to learn how to market yourself and how to be your own best advocate and show people how you utilize your skills and what you can bring to the table to better, to show that you'll be a good attorney just for yourself and how you'll be able to use your skills to serve your clients. And so to anybody who's applying, who's thinking, oh, I don't know if I'm good enough to apply or if I have, the skills that I need, I would encourage you to just really take a step back and just look at the totality of everything that you've done and just think, okay, how can I use this? Or like, what can I say about this? And what can I say about these skills to show, no, like I am somebody who deserves to be there. Because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else has a reason to. I just firmly believe that we just need to learn to be better advocates for ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. We in admissions, we try really hard when we're reviewing applications. We're not going to admit any candidate who is not capable of doing law school, being successful, getting a great job. But, every student gets to law school, every single one, whether how well their scores, their background are, and they have imposter syndrome and they feel like, oh my God, what do I do? What if I can't do this? What if I don't get hired? And it all definitely comes back to being your best advocate and using the resources, and I think yours is such a great one. Obviously, I can only speak to WashU and our Career Center and that support, but there are these other opportunities out there as well. And it's so fantastic that you all moved into this space. I think it's super important. We never want candidates to self-select out of applying to a school that they think could be the right fit and get them, to a great spot after law school and get this great degree. Any, I guess, parting words of wisdom or anything else you may have forgotten to say or mention that you want to touch on before we kind of wrap this up?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the two big ones are our applications are going through January, so definitely apply, get them in. And if you are listening and you believe in the cause and want to support, we are always happily accepting donations.
Absolutely.
So
If 1Ls can take some of their summer money that they made to put into this, others can take some of theirs as well. I think that is super true.
she said it, not me. So,
It is.
so
It's overwhelming, and I think that is even just one of the considerations as well. You do make a lot of money. What do you do with it? How do you manage that? That's a whole other conversation.
yeah,
Yeah. Anything
yeah.
else?
No, yeah. I mean, just to your point. I mean, I just thinking to my experience. I so like the reason I was able to attend a school like WashU, like I didn't do well on the LSAT when I first took like a practice test. And so like I needed a course. And so for me, it's crazy to think that were I not able to afford like a $1,500 course, um, I very may well not have had the opportunity to attend WashU. Um, and it's even crazier to think that, as a big law associate, you're making like $4,000 in a week.
Right. Right.
Like,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
so
Right.
yeah, so like, particularly for those that are in big law or just anybody who just who believes in the mission or who has the means, any level of support is very much appreciated. You can donate at bridgingthegapscholarship.com/donate. And yeah, I mean, we're excited to see where this can go.
Yeah. We are excited too. We're so proud to have you as an alum. This is super, super awesome. Thank you for taking time out of your workday to do our podcast. We push this out in our various social media, and we'll make sure to link everything up to Bridging the Gap. So thank you for being here.
No, thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye.